The last few weeks we've been cruising the Gulf Islands in British Columbia, and last week we went to Sydney to install a new oven on Ron. We visited Sydney Spit and then arrived in Victoria on Vancouver Island, the capital of the province British Columbia.
Next to our dock you find Victoria Kayaks, and the owners Aaron and Joanna, who happens to be our followers, wanted to take us for a tour of the gorge. Is this your first time trying a kayak?
Yeah, I mean I tried a canoe, but
it's a bit different.
Yeah, it's a bit different.
The Gorge Waterway stretches 3 nautical miles from the inner harbour to Portage Inlet in the northwest. A family of river otters played in the water. The gorge has been an important spiritual fishing site for First Nations, the native people of Canada, for over 4,000 years. Testing your skills. From the 1890s to the 1930s, the gorge was a popular swimming spot for locals, and an impressive diving tower of 110 feet, 33 meters, was one of the main attractions. For the last 60 years, the gorge suffered from questionable water quality and litter shorelines due to the industrial development. However, in recent years, cleanups, community projects, and the health authority have contributed to the removal of the pollution. We're coming in, but
Kayaking was a great way to explore the surroundings, and a kayak on board Ron is now on our wish list.
We held our second meetup, which had a great turnout, and it was so nice to see how many that showed up. And then we sailed out again across the Caribbean Sea with each other too, so I mean it's so individual. All come visiting us, so that's great.
We love to learn about local history and culture, so when there is a museum around, we always try to make a visit. Both mammoth and saber-toothed cats once roamed Vancouver Island, and there is evidence of mammoths being hunted by the first humans here. Some of the oldest settlements of North America have been found on Vancouver Island. Some as old as 14,000 years. It's mind-boggling that not a single human being was living in the Americas before the most recent ice age. Just imagine the hardship these first settlers experienced and the endurance it must have taken.
Quail hikes to Quail.
Yo, last 8 o'clock.
Oh, not too far.
No, almost. And that one?
With a good team.
Good OD.
Good.
What do you think?
Al halatsiklipvanux al tisunktut. How are you today?
Athletics actually started. Athletics actually started.
In more recent history, British Columbia became a magnet for European settlers, searching for a new and prosperous future in the West. Immigrants brought their professions from their old country and started up logging, fishing, and mining operations.
We got picked up by Nick, who is an avid sailor but also an astronomer.
It's like that, except it's...
So we're at Victoria University and we're going to check out their telescope here. They have an observatory. And it's a pretty clear sky today, so Nick will show us that he's working as an astronomer.
Because you're pretty into space.
Yeah, I am. And Nick, he's doing some research on binary stars, if I remember correctly. So that's kind of cool.
This is the observatory.
We started by having a look at the moon from one of the smaller telescopes on the roof.
To another mirror that's face down behind this thing, and then it sends it through a hole.
And got amazed on the amount of details you were able to see.
Usually that doesn't work.
So what is this?
This is a Canadian staple of desserts.
Pretty good. Yeah. It's like donuts,
like the
but
center of a donut.
different shape.
Yeah. There's different flavors. Usually chocolate ones are the best. There's only one. Oh, bummer. Usually don't get to control.
Usually I ask for all chocolate and all jelly filled.
Right, yeah.
It's kind of
With
cheap.
cinnamon in this one.
Yeah.
Timbits.
So like the Canadian childhood would be rolling up to Timmy's, we call it. Timmy's at like, I don't know, 10 p.m. on a weekday. And get your...
The UVic 0.8 meter telescope is one of the largest optical telescopes on any Canadian university campus. Gazing at neighboring galaxies and actually looking back in time makes you think. It's hard to grasp that the photons hitting your retina sometimes have been traveling for millions of years through the void of space before finally hitting your eye.
Can you see a dromedar?
Yeah, that's what we'll look at later.
Oh, yeah.
I hope we can look at it later. Depending on how high it is. It's a little underwhelming, but it's like a blob of just like fuzzy light.
27,000 light years away.
Yeah, something like that. Plus or minus a few thousand.
So we're leaving Canada today and Victoria. It's been a really great time here.
The inner harbor here in Victoria shares the water with one of the biggest seaplanes airport in Canada. So you go next to where the planes take off and land. So it's really important that all the vessels go really close to shore so you won't interfere with the planes. So we are tucked in here as much as we can to the shore, and we're gonna follow the yellow buoys that are marked out. And it's like, I think it's 1.5 nautical mile until we're coming out from the inner harbor.
So we're almost back in the US again. Crossing the border in a couple of minutes.
Now we're back in the US. Hoisting the courtesy flag and the Q flag to show that we haven't cleared in yet.
Have around 10 nautical miles to go, and then we're going to anchor in Friday Harbor. But first I think we need to go to the customs dock. So we moor the boat there, and there's supposed to be a telephone on the dock, and we're going to call the customs, and they will come down to the boat, make an inspection of the boat and clear us in, and then we can move around to the anchor place instead and anchor it.
Spent a bit over 2 months in Canada, from beginning of August and now it's mid-October, and we've cruised literally the whole coast of British Columbia, and we ended here in the capital of the state or the region, Victoria, and it's been great. We've seen many beautiful places, met a lot of nice people, and done a lot of fun stuff. I think one of the highlights were in Bishop Bay, where it was the hot spring, and we had the humpback whales hanging out with us in the bay for those 2 days. That was pretty special. Now we're going in between San Juan Island on our west side, left side on the Lopez Island to the right, and you can see the current out there. There can run up to 5 knots here, where it's like spring tide. Today I think it was top 2.9, but now we're in an hour it's slack, so we should have 0.9 knots of current with us. I think it's a little bit more than that because we're doing 7.2 knots. But look there.
To go up there to the office, but I think we can leave the boat here.
Okay.
But we need to find the American phone number that we had on Hawaii. I don't know why, but they want us to have a local phone number. While clearing in, we found out that our cruising permit never got surrendered as we had asked for when leaving Alaska. We wanted to get it surrendered so we would get a new 1-year cruising permit when we came back to the US again.
But now Ron can only be in US waters until April 2019, and then have to leave the US for a minimum of 2 weeks. A bit problematic, since we're going to sail down the west coast and be in the country for a couple of months after April. This is now something we have to solve before we sail south this spring. The fog is finally starting to lift, but you can still see it out there.
So we're waiting to have our propane filled here in Friday Harbor. And that's one thing that is really convenient here in the US. That a lot of places you can just fill your propane tank at the fuel station at the dock. So this bottle is on 5.4 kilos of propane. We have 2 of them on the boat. And 1 bottle lasts us about 6 to 8 weeks, depending on how much we use the oven. 。
We
So the price for that was $11.20.
Friday Harbor is the major commercial center in San Juan Islands, and it's a cute little town.
The Whale Museum opened to the public in 1979, as the first museum in the US devoted to marine mammals. What do you got?
Walk, bike, carpool, or take public transit. Easy.
Yeah.
We sail, and when we're on shore, we always walk. I just turned the challenge wheel, and it's how to be aware of your environment, and in this case it's the environment of the sea where the orcas and the mammals live. Because everything we do, like fossil fuels, plastic, garbage, everything's affect them.
The Southern Salish Sea is home to 3 groups of resident orcas, the J, K and L pods, which are all listed as endangered.
The museum is doing research and gathers information on the whales in the Salish Sea. All the local orcas have been given names, and the status of the orca population is followed closely.
Can you imagine having those on your skin? They say that a whale can have up to 1,000 pounds of barnacles on them. These are massive. I've never seen these big ones. You don't get very proud of humanity, of the stuff you're reading here, of the killing of the whales. Which one was
Humpback.
that? Humpback, yeah.
Song of the humpback whale.
Sperm whale? What's that?
The sound of a walrus.
What?
Walrus.
A walrus? So which whales have we seen so far? Humpback whale, and I think we've seen minke whale too, and orca. This is the type we saw up in Prince William Sound, Dahl's porpoise.
There are several threats to marine mammals. Food shortage, pollution, and a high concentration of shipping in their home waters makes it hard for them to reproduce at the same rate as in the past, and the population is therefore now declining.
Thank you for watching. Your support helps us to continue making videos. Please like and subscribe, and see you next week.